welcome back to Alpha Tauri. We're here for round 4, which is Japan in 2024. It's only been about 8 races, but we're back at Suzuka. And off the back of Yuki Tsunoda's best finish so far this season. Still no safety cars. I think the pendulum has swung a little bit too far the other way on that one. And with a new chassis, new side pod, and a new front wing, which barely makes a difference for some reason. I don't know what happened on that one. But we find ourselves first in total extra weight because we've taken so much out of everything. Engine cooling now 3rd, though. Brake cooling remains 7th, which is kind of where it was before. DRS effectiveness remains 7th, which is where it was before. Obviously, kind of rear wing is in one that affects that, kind of. So don't really expect too much on that front. Top speed, I think we've moved up a little bit. But for some reason, cornering, we slipped down just by having new parts. So not fully certain what happened there. And it's worth saying, we have 2 chassis, 2 side pods, and 2 front wings. If any of them break in practice or qualifying, then they are going to be on the old spec for the race. Obviously, we're manufacturing more, but only 2 have turned up in time. Also, facility-wise, I've managed to refurb everything here. Still got a ways to go in car development facilities, including the factory, which is just tipped under. Why does it cost so much to refurbish them when we pay an upkeep for them? It's a mystery for the ages. But that being said, we're all ready to go. I will see you for qualifying. Accidentally clicked through the practice results before resuming here, but 5th and 6th in practice, which is a little surprising. Car part knowledge obviously a little bit down because of the new car parts on, but otherwise, no problems. Both drivers start with relatively low bars as well, so that gets us into the very high territory on both. I'm now weirdly confident. By the way, it's light rain. That was in practice. Don't know if it carries through to qualifying. Moderate for the race. We'll pause immediately just to see what's going on with this. A little bit of rain in the end, so getting the lap in the beginning, crucial. Alright, so Albon's on his last fresh gearbox. Yuki's obviously already used all 4. Everyone's gone immediately because of the rain as well, which is interesting because they might be able to get one in later on. Slightly surprising that we're 19th, 20th. That's better. I don't know how we got held up, but apparently we did. The rain's coming earlier. We're not going to get out in time now, so we'll just leave that. I'm surprised they're going to get the lap in, really, but I think some people just went straight back in again. Science is randomly out. Ferrari. Oh, Ferrari. He's not even in danger. I'd understood it AI-wise if he was in danger, but he's not even in danger. He's still out. Carlos, you're okay there? Welcome back. Well, despite obviously changeable conditions, it's a relatively standard 5 that are out. Oscar Piastri's sojourn into Q3 last time out has very improperly come to an end there. Back to 16th. Pierre Gasly out in Q1 as well. Little odd. Daniel Ricciardo out-qualifies Bottas, I think, for the first time. And Kevin Magnussen continues to be... I mean, Hulkenberg's 15th. The Haas not good this year now. And we start in intermediates. Interesting. Interesting. We start at 2.4. Is it going to get... Oh, it's going to get dry at the end. Get a time on the board, I guess. It seems to be fairly level all the way. People who come out a little bit later might get a little bit of drier track. And we've just done 1 lap anyway, despite being telling them to do 2. Sure, whatever. We're thinking it's going to be dry enough for the end here, so... And there goes the track. Cool. Right, so 4 minutes to go. I think 5 people are in the pits right now. Leclerc, Russell, De Vries, and ourselves. Everyone else is on track right now. And the majority of people are on out laps. Or they've gone out on softs. Okay. Stroll might be a little bit stymied here because he's on a flying lap now on intermediates. But everyone else is out right now on the softs. So they've come out predicting that it's going to be dry by the time they do their lap, even though it's wet when they've come out, which is interesting. Probably increase the chance of a mistake there. But Stroll's doing an intermediate time and he's actually going fastest. But hopefully we'll all do dry times here. There goes De Vries as well, I think, or Zhou Guanyu, one of the 2. There goes the other one. This just makes things a little bit awkward in terms of when to come out, because as people come out weirdly early here, I think some people might start, a couple of people might start their soft lap in marginally damp conditions there. Alonso probably has. I think everyone else might have got away with it. But it's a 1 minute 20 something dry lap, isn't it? So we could sort of afford to push to about 2:30. Yeah, so Stroll's put in actually a reasonable good lap on those inters, but I kind of almost want to wait as long as possible because they're coming in. Actually, I think now's a really good spot. We haven't really got that much more wiggle room, but I think now's a really good spot because the only people he can get ahead of are people who are on in laps anyway. I would think the Williams might be on a flying lap, actually. Yeah, the Williams might cause a tiny bit of problem, but we couldn't really wait too much longer anyway. So how long before Stroll's in the bottom 5 as people start putting in their times? Perez, Hamilton, Norris with a reasonable one. Alonso and Hulkenberg, I think, started their lap in slightly damp conditions, so I think they might have been hindered by that. Don't be surprised to see Alonso and Hulkenberg in the bottom 5 at the end of all this. Traffic's going to be a big problem as well. All right, so we're focused on Yuki Tsunoda. Probably ought to go on board with him. It is his home race after all. He's technically the slower of our 2 drivers, but they're only separated by 7 thousandths in the first lap in the damp conditions. So Stroll's in the bottom 5 already and done for. So Stroll will be 15th, I imagine. I think everyone except for Russell, there he goes, has actually done the time on dries. So Sainz is in danger, actually. Alonso and Hulkenberg will survive then, because I don't think anyone else is on a flying lap. It's just ourselves. it is just ourselves. We're going to have to negotiate both Williamses, actually. Albon's just gone through the first one, which might cause a tiny bit of a problem. Now, the good news is the second one is only ever going to be caught on 130R at best. So, provided Yuki Tsunoda gets past this one, provided this one slows down enough to go into Spoon. Okay, I think we gets around that one okay. But Alex is just passing the other Williams now at 130R, so I think that's fine. Got him on the straight, although sometimes the straight can be the problem because it makes you slow down and then obviously you never get the momentum back up again. We saw that happen last time out. Whereas Yuki's going to catch... Oh, he might dive into the pit before he actually catches him here. Yeah. So Yuki's clear. Alex is 6th. Didn't even clock that one happening. And Yuki 7th. Nice. So Seitz is out. I wonder what happened on his out lap, on flying lap, because there must have been a problem there. I say Carlos Sainz is a surprise. He actually didn't get out of Q2 last time either. So I don't know what's going on with Ferrari. I don't know if they're just Ferrariing it, but... And Ocon continues his... He had a little bit of an anomaly last race. He got into 7th, but he's been 13th or... He's been 14th in the other 2 races and 13th now. So this feels largely representative for Ocon, because Stroll should obviously be faster as well. But Hulkenberg gets through to Q3 for the first time. And he has a penalty, ironically. Oh, we're starting Inters again. It's got wet again, apparently. Well, we'll dedicate one lap this time. Pause. Let's see. Oh, it's going to be damp the entire time. Okay. Right, so it's not going to be any drier than this at any given point. I wonder if everyone comes out... Yeah. So even though it's going to be damp the entire time, everyone just comes out as if it's going to get wet. Like, they have the same mindset, which is interesting. I just realised I did that on automatic and didn't actually warm up their tyres, so that was my bad. Still faster than Hulkenberg. Although, realistically, do we want to be much higher than 8th? Hulkenberg splits Tsunoda and Albon. Everyone else has done their lap. This is going to be a problem, because everyone's on their in-lap now, actually, as the same problem we had last year is in the sense that it's got really dark has happened again. So this is what's happened when you don't push your tyres, essentially. But we're going to have to get past everyone. So weird that everyone came out in a batch. Yuki genuinely might be okay. This is more of a problem for Alex, because he's catching the entire pack now. Yuki's going to have to deal with the Red Bull that's at the back, but I don't know if he's ever going to have to deal with the rest. Just to show you the problem. Switching over to Alex just for this straight here. Yeah, he's just straight up being blocked by Norris there. But Yuki might be okay, because has to deal with the Red Bull. Yeah, Alex slower, because he got absolutely mugged off. Yuki only marginally faster anyway. So, tad unfortunate. But it's Perez from Alonso again. Lando putting that car in places where it shouldn't be. That might be adaptability driving, actually. That could be attribute-based for Lando. But yeah, Sergio first, Alonso second again. No penalties to Sergio this time, so Alonso's not promoted to pole. Alexander Albon will be, though. So we start 8th and 9th anyway. So the rain is all the way to the end from about lap... I think realistically, the wet switch is probably here. That's intermediate the entire time, though. Realistically, we're looking lap 18, I think. Which is a soft... And then the intermediate just gets to the end from there as well, if you're careful with it, out of curiosity. So 2 intermediates going for it is faster than 1 intermediate just letting it go to the end, especially if it kind of warms up and overheats like it did last time. Meanwhile, bear in mind that this is literally just going to get us there. We're going to burn it a little bit at the beginning, and it's kind of whether or not it'll get there at the end. This is 3 push. Mediums allows us to go for it the entire time. It's worth saying, by the way, they now got exactly the same smoothness attribute. They're both on 83, so nobody's any better than the other anymore in that respect. A lot of rain. I think we get 1 under and then just let it sort of come back. But this is the thing, if we go on mediums to the rain, then we're guaranteed to get to the rain. We don't get into that position where we're sort of going, oh, maybe we need to go on the intermediates a little bit early, just because these tyres are running out. We're not in that situation we were in Brazil last year. But this should do us. Race time. Sergio's on mediums, is worth knowing that.
Get ready. It's the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
He is the only other person on mediums, though. Interesting that everyone else thinks the softs will get there. Oh no, there's a medium runner at the very back. I think it's Magnussen. Bottas, sorry. In the Sauber. But even so, Yuki Tsunoda's having a little nosy at Lewis Hamilton. So obviously these soft runners will have the early tyre advantage, but it will slowly shift into our favour as the race gets closer to the rain. Which now the race has started remains around lap 18. We'll keep an eye on whether or not it's going to shift one way or the other, but obviously our 2 drivers line astern. I'm not going to tell them not to fight, which might be a problem, as Yuki Tsunoda has fallen off the back of Hamilton for some reason. And Alexander Albon doesn't really need to worry about the advances of Zhou Guanyu. Although saying that, he has taken Carlos Sainz. Carlos down to 11th again, having been promoted presumably by Hulkenberg's penalty, which I assume was only 3 places, because I think it was an incident. So I think Ocon's legitimately got him off the start. Hulkenberg probably started 12th. But Stroll's got to Reese, unsurprising. Ricardo's got Gasly. A little bit more surprising. We now are a pretty solid engine cooling. 3rd in the pack, 7th on brake cooling, which means our tyre temperatures are going to be slightly better, and our engine wear is going to be a little bit better on that more aggressive mode now with the engine cooling that we've got. As Zhou Guanyu has decided to have a go at Alexander Albon there. That's annoying. For some reason, the very, very early pace from Tsunoda has evaporated and has dropped off Hamilton. But the difference is we can push these tyres. They're going to have to relent at some point. Whereas we can just go, nah, it's all right. So something I want to bring up in regards to ERS is I'm being more conservative in practices now than I was last year. Because on last year's game, it was still a strategy, but you could sort of get away with it. Obviously, with the exorbitant fees that the mechanical car parts need now to replace them, can't really get away with just running them on neutral this year. Last year I left it as sort of a more natural thing to do. This season, because of the unrealistically expensive car parts, or at least in comparison to the balance of the game, I'm having to do that kind of strategy of being a little bit more conservative on engine mode and all that in practice. So because I've not been using the ERS in practices, the two ERSs are basically getting closer together because they're not the practice one isn't being used as much. Oh, I just missed the actual incident replay, but Gasly's apparently clocked Ricardo, I think. Gasly's at it again. But the thing is right now, if you look at those tyre temperatures, I did notice when they went to red, they went to red at 120. So they're not that kind of 10 degrees over that kind of melts the tyres. They're only 5 degrees over, which isn't too bad. Although I must notice the fuel is actually getting quite over quite quickly. But even so, I think if we ask them to bring those tyre temperatures down a little bit, get them under, because bear in mind this is a 4-push stint anyway. There goes Alonso. It's a replay of Sainz overtaking Albon, but he's, in a Ferrari on softs with DRS. Our DRS is pretty strong though. You can see how well Alex held on there, despite, mind you, no, DRS isn't active there. Our straight line basically is not too bad. It's the corners where things go slightly awry. Verstappen's taking the lead. It was just a spin for Alonso at the hairpin. Surprised he doesn't collect anyone. I mean, that is so terrible. But thankfully, he's kind of off the racing line there, so people just avoid him anyway. Oh, well, Fernando, that's a shame. Yuki's still 7th as things stand. It's not terrible. It's interesting that even pushing, though, Yuki is not keeping... I mean, he's now just got into DRS range of Lando, so I think 3 kilograms is where we're going to have to say goodbye to the fuel. And it looks like Norris has finally stopped pushing because Yuki's got him and DRS'd him. Off we go. Is Albon on the back? No, it's Sainz on the back of Zhou Guanyu, but Albon's still in 10th. Now in the DRS train. In fact, that is a train all the way to Stroll in 13th. Tsunoda not exactly dropping Norris, though, over the course of the lap. But the good news is they have kind of put about 4 seconds between the two drivers. Net, I think. 3.5. Which means the double stack isn't going to be too much of a problem for Albon when the rain comes. That's the important thing. Because I think about 4 seconds is about what you need to get the car in, tyres on, car out again. Obviously, if the car gets held because everyone's coming in, that's going to be a bit more of a problem. But if there's about 4 seconds between the drivers and the double stack is kind of not really a thing, and Zhou Guanyu is essentially the limitation there at this point in time. Well, Sainz isn't on mediums, is he? No, he's on softs. Perez has taken the lead again. We'll find out which is... I think the softs will just about get there. This is all about maintaining our speed, really. Because we've had to be a little bit more conservative if we'd gone on to softs at the start here. Sainz has got Zhou Guanyu, I just noticed there. So Sainz will be closing up to Norris now, momentarily. Alex is having a go at... Yeah, you're not really regaining fuel here. Yeah, so Zhou's the second off Sainz now. Sainz only marginally closing the gap to Tsunoda and Norris. It's not dramatic. Alex gets Zhou Guanyu. Thankfully, he's nowhere near Nick de Vries this time round, so can't be randomly taken out by him. He's also ahead of Lance Stroll for the time being as well, so the two assassins are well behind us as things stand. In fact, Stroll, I think, is slightly fending off Hulkenberg. So things aren't exactly going his way. I'm just letting Alex go all out, really, so he can get on the back of Sainz if he can. But this is all going to undo itself when we get to the pit stops. If Tsunoda could drop Norris now, that would be great. Alonso's back up to 17th. Just letting Tsunoda go all out, just so he can build up the gap on Norris. Because I think if Norris doesn't think there's a fight anymore, then he might fall into Sainz and start slowing Sainz up, which will therefore slow Alex up, who simultaneously has also got into... And Alex has simultaneously got into Sainz's DRS, which is nice. Although, hasn't triggered it for some reason. How odd. Wet weather predicted. It still looks like 18 to me. I mean, the first little bit is a little bit lower than it was before, but it still looks like 18, 19 to me for the changeover. So, we've got 4 more laps. Actually, we could probably just push at this stage. How's everyone's softs doing? Oh, they're all at 50%. It would have been fine, I think. I think the people at the back have pushed harder than the people at the front, but it's allowed us to be aggressive. Albon's lost Sainz. Sainz has gone for Norris, I think. So there is about 4 seconds between the two drivers. I think we can let them go for it, at least for a couple of laps. Try and make the tyre advantage work here. Yeah, Reigns has come in. So it's going to be 2 laps of basically negligible, and then it's just going to spear up. So I reckon it's going to be probably the end of this lap is when we're going to want to come in. I reckon it's going to be the end of this lap is when it's going to be worthwhile coming in. So 2 drivers now separated by 7 seconds, by the way. I don't know why it's gone that far out, but Ocon started pushing and got into Albon's DRS somehow. Maybe the softs are just better in the wet conditions. Maybe that's what it's simulating. It's got to be said, that war is not going up anywhere near as fast as I thought it would be on this lap. So Yuki's the one ahead here. It's 0.65 now. Perez is coming. It's going to be one of those ones. Is that genuinely 0.65 or is it just sort of slightly mugging us off here? Leclerc's coming as well. Actually, Perez is already in the pit, isn't he? I don't see anyone else. Because the question comes is, by the time he gets out, and that noise is really annoying me, by the time he gets out, and by the time everyone else gets to the pit, is the time they're going to lose be more than the time we're going to gain? Because right now we know that 0.8, the intermediates are technically slower. Anything lower than that, they're technically slower. I'm wondering if Yuki's a little too far ahead. Also, where does Yuki come out if he pits? And we've got this wrong. 18th. And Alex says 90. So in the gap ahead of Ricardo, which is massive for some reason. Oh, is Ricardo damaged? Did Pierre break him? I can't really see, but Pierre might have damaged his car when he crashed into him. I mean, they're all on like 30% softs. The thing I'm looking at here is I don't think any other pit crew is out except for ours. I think that's ours in the distance. I don't think anyone else is pitting. The Mercedes certainly isn't, although that looks like he's just diving in. Yeah, so the Mercedes definitely isn't pitting. Alex is all the way back here. Right, so if we want to choose, Russell's just come in, and it's gone to 0.7 in that small amount of time. I think we finally hit the updraft. I was going to bring Alex in, but I'm going to bring Yuki in now as well. The fact that Russell went for it makes me think it's ready. Because that was a split-second decision, because their pit crew was not out. Everyone's come out now, and it's gone to 0.8. It was the right decision. Oh, and we don't even get hell for anyone. Even better. So that's Alex in. He's going to get hell for the Williams, I think. Or the Williams is just going to drive for us. I don't know what happened there. So nobody lost any positions, I don't think, in all that from us. So we are faster than those 2 people that stayed out, Verstappen and Hamilton, who stayed out. Because they're going to do this entire lap now in damp conditions. So that was lagging a little bit behind, I think. And we have designed this to go aggressive as well. We're going to go 2 sets of aggressive, opposed to 1 and just hold on. And we got about half a kilogram of fuel back before it's even got damp. So it's not terrible, but it's kind of the bit that I pushed over that I was kind of originally intending to push. So it'll be fascinating to see where they come out. So Verstappen's already in and out. Because Perez should have got a huge advantage there. Now, I think the only problem is Verstappen and Perez were well enough ahead that they're not going to even factor into the rest of us. But yeah, he got a good solid 4 seconds. Hamilton, however, was with Russell originally. So there goes Russell. And there's Yuki on the back of him. So he's gained that back, at least. And Yuki's tyres are up to temperature as well. Just feel like the intermediates are very prone to overheating, though. So even though with our good cooling, they've gone up like 10%. 10 degrees, sorry, higher than they should be. I think someone's coded the intermediates wrong. Because their hot temperature is 90 degrees. And even with the trick of curbs right now, which I am trying to use, they're kind of stuck at 97, which doesn't make any sense. Because that should be bringing the temperatures down. I think if I didn't have curbs on right now, they'd be well over 100 degrees. Now, Hamilton probably should be faster than Tsunoda anyway. It's whether or not this is going to be spearing beneath the trajectory. Because if it is, then we're going to have to do something about it. And do some periods, maybe not on 5 push. Well, Alex was 9th? Norris lost out. Yeah, Norris lost out quite badly and all that. I don't know why. Must have had a bad pit stop because he came in with everyone. Just trying to get these tyre temperatures down to remotely respectable levels. There we go. You seem to be fine. Okay. Yuki saying he nearly ended up in the wall. I think he has lost a bit of time, actually. But Carlos Sainz is still 4 seconds behind. I don't know if that's updated or not. Yeah, I think full attack mode on intermediates has been coded really wrongly. Because I do have curbs on right now. And when I switched it aggressive, they went all the way down to 82 degrees. And now I'm on attack, they're still above 90. Or at 90. So they don't seem to come down. I mean, maybe part of it is just because it's not particularly wet, but it is damp conditions. I'm trying to work out what's going on here, because now actually I've gone back on attack. They don't seem to be going as high. They seem to just be stuck where they were at. Like Albon's at 87 now, when before they were stuck at like 90, 97. So I don't really know what's going on here. Mind you, Tsunoda's at 92, and Albon's able to pull away from Ocon now. Now the tyres aren't too detrimentally overheating. I'm a little confused why he thinks the pit stop is about 30 seconds here. Green flag 28 seconds. Apparently it is quite slow here. Okay. Nearly got the fuel back though. Okay, so Piastri just pitted again. I think Tsunoda comes out ahead of Alonso. I think Tsunoda comes out behind Alonso. Or right in the middle of that. Oh, he had an issue. So without this issue, he'd have come out ahead of that train. Yeah, I mean, the car seemed to let it go, apparently, is the problem. So without that issue, he would have come out ahead of Hulkenberg still. So he's still only 20 seconds, I think. So we'll focus on Yuki right now. We may have made the wrong call with the two-stop here because, well, mind you, Zhou Guanyu's just come in. We should be able to get Yuki back into the points, no problem. Getting some lovely overtaking morale as well in the process. Yeah, it's whether or not being on a better intro at the end is going to make a difference. All right, do the same to Norris, please, Yuki. Although Alex has done Albon, though, before Spoon. That's the thing, though. If they get a few overtakes in, their kind of morale will go up as well in the process. Yuki really struggling with Norris for some reason. Just trying not to melt the tyres. But for some reason, there's not really being kind on that front. That one takes Alonso. I didn't know he was even in that pack.
Gap opens up for them.
Oh, nicely done, Yuki, actually. Just sort of mugs him off. Although Alonso loves Yuki, so I'm sure Fernando would have been smiling at that. But there we go. I mean, getting 7th back from Ocon. I mean, unless Ocon just suddenly... Sorry, unless Sainz just suddenly just loses 10 seconds over our guys, then pitting was not the right choice, which is a bit annoying. That one also got Hulkenberg. There we go. I'm not bothered with that one. Oh, yellow flag. That's fun. That is Hulkenberg, who has locked up on turn 15. Is that the hairpin? Chicane, sorry. Yep, just went straight on. There is literally a slip road there for him to rejoin to the track, and the game has not recognised that. It's such a simple thing for Frontier to sort out that. It's just use the actual escape roads. They exist in real life. It's not like there isn't video footage of them working. And actually, I think Yuki's just taken a stroll there as well for good measure. He has. Through the S's, that's not too bad, actually. Now, of course, the thing to factor in here is that obviously we are this far behind Sainz now. We're this far behind Ocon, etc. But bear in mind, we're only that far ahead of them in the first place because we pushed that original set. If we'd been on 3 neutral, we would have fallen away from Hamilton a lot more dramatically. We would have fallen into Sainz a little bit more easily. So we're unable to know where we would stand in regards to being 6th or 7th, etc. if we hadn't have pushed those original tyres in the first place. As Albon takes Norris, I think, behind. We'll check that one out because that's Alex getting back into the points again. And a lot of their tyres are going to be getting a lot closer to the cliff in these last few laps. In fact, some of them are under 40 as things stand already. Stroll is on 33% and Alex and Tsunoda are on 70 something. So might be seeing Zhou Guanyu come through the field shortly as well in the next 5 laps as all their tyres go off. The only noise is a lot of their tyres are in the 30% right now, and they are still doing 135s. Tsunoda's doing 134 too, in fairness, but Stroll looks like he's suffering a little bit more, 2 seconds slower than Alex, and he was the one closest to 30%, I think. So it's all the ones that are just over 40% are sort of holding on. In fact, Zhou Guanyu has, in fact, just taken 2 people in 1 lap. So it's starting to happen, although Hamilton's just done a 134.9, and Leclerc's done a 134.1 on 38% intermediates. Frontier, sort your game out. Tsunoda's having a go at Alex. I just want to get those temperatures down before he really, truly has a go at him. Well, Alex on the back of Stroll is just a straightforward overtake. Tsunoda's somehow done a 135.9 on fresh tyres. And Knocker's on 29. Just want to throw that one out there. I think that's a lock-up. I don't think that's a crash because we'd have seen a notification. It's not Hulkenberg again, is it? No, it's Magnussen. Same corner, but he's just on a different thing. Whoop, off the edge of the track he goes. 4 laps to go on peak. Come on, Yuki. You can do this. I believe in you. Maybe if you can just deploy and drive past him. He's on 20%. He's on 27% intermediates. He should be slow as dirt right now. Ocon should not basically be moving at this stage, and yet held him up all that time. Alex has got to get 4 laps in. Alex is caught with 2 laps to go. So meanwhile, Tsunoda's 7 seconds behind Sainz, whose soft tyres are just about to hit 30%, actually. He's managed to hold on to them somehow. So realistically, Tsunoda's only 1 place behind where he pitted in the first place. And if he hadn't been pushing, if he'd been on neutral speed, you saw how much slower he was on neutral speed actually a lap ago. He went from 134.2 to a 135.9. So he would have been lapping at least a second and a bit slower, probably. So realistically, I think we've probably done the right thing now, especially if Albon gets 8th. Come on, Alex. Get Ocon. And he's done it. Nicely done. I'm due to see where De Vries and Piastri are, because they were the only other people to do 2 pit stops there. Oh, Yuki could have pushed his fuel there now, I realise, but never mind. Albon's left Ocon behind even without pushing, so realistically he's not catching Tsunoda. We're just trying to close the gap to Sainz in case Sainz does something. He's only got 14th, actually. Although he's on the back of Magnussen, so he'd probably take 13th by the end of this. The Perez and Verstappen already finished. Leclerc not far off. Tsunoda is closing this gap quite dramatically, actually. It went from 7 seconds to 4. Just in case Sainz has a wobbly on that final chicane. He appears to have safely negotiated it, sadly. I thought I'd go for him just in case. He cut it by 4 seconds in the end, I think. 2.5, all things considered. Stroll got Ocon. Oh, wait, hang on. What's happened to Ocon? Ocon's got a puncture. Ocon got a puncture at the very end there. Some people are running on 16% Hulkenberg was running on. 16. Zhou Guanyu still couldn't get past him. Magnussen. How did you not get past Magnussen, Zhou? What are you doing? And why is Piastri still 18th? What? How did he not get past any of these? What were they doing? Well, we got past a bunch. I wonder if we'll focus on Yuki or Alex. It did, even if we can't see them. First non-max victory, but it's still Red Bull 1-2. Poor Fernando. Oh, there's the model for Alex. This is the first time I've actually seen it. Still a little yellow, isn't it? Rather than platinum blonde. That, depressingly, is Kevin Magnussen's best finish so far this season in 13th. The points contenders at the start of last season really not showing up in season 2. Esteban Ocon finishes in 11th with 3 wheels on his wagon, but still up 2 places for the race as a whole, which is quite remarkable. Lando must have really lost out in the pit stops. I do not know what happened there. But Yuki and Alex go up 1 place. I forgot to put the incentive in, so that's no more money there. Lance up 6. Fernando down 8 because he started second and had that moment early on and never really recovered, although getting back to 10th isn't too shabby, I guess. But everyone else up a significant amount of positions. Obviously, everyone behind Fernando gets 1 just by virtue of being behind Fernando. I just realised, technically, that's the good positions Yuki and Alex got in the end, but mitigated anyone else coming through, like Lance Stroll, for instance. And Carlos Sainz, who did actually get through. So George and Lewis up. Good result from them, past Carlos and Fernando respectively. Fernando only 8th. It's quite remarkable. Started the last 2 races second, and he's still only 8th in the championship. But Yuki holding 9 and 10 quite firmly there. Similarly with the championship, holding 5th quite firmly as a result as well. Mercedes get Aston Martin for good measure. McLaren and Red Bull slip between us in all that, but overall we still extend our advantages in the pit stop competitions, which is good. And we get some healthy money post-race every race now because we obviously improve that on the per-race basis rather than up front. Pierre Hamelin up to 85. Spinney just got 84 actually. And I saw this one coming, so I didn't see the underfloor coming actually, I'm not going to lie, so we might need to manufacture more of those. But I did see the rear wing failing in advance, so I built more. As for the calendar, we've got the Miami Grand Prix, the first sprint race of the season next week on Monday, and the ATR period opens on the 29th, which also sees a new rear wing come in fact. So we're also scouting all the youngest drivers at this point as well. So that's what that's all about. And crucially, the day before the ATR period as well is the design centre refurbishment comes through, which is one of the more crucial parts really in getting better car parts going forward. So new ATR period, new rear wing, our facilities refurbished as well at the same time. ATR period 3 should see us bring in some significant improvements, probably a month afterwards because of the way this all works. Still got Emilia-Romagna, Monaco and Canada back to back to back. So I suspect all these improvements from this ATR period will be coming in. Spain at the earliest. As long as we can hold on to like 9th and 10th at best for the rest of this section, that will do us nicely, really. And if we can start improving the cornering attributes of our car dramatically, because that's where we lack right now. We've done all the specialisms in the cooling and the rear wing and all that. We sort of done that while sacrificing the cornering on those specific parts, whereas things like the underfloor we don't get to do quite as often. So, which is probably the main thing that is providing our cornering at the moment. So, if we can improve those going forward, starting filtering in the cornering parts a little bit more, get them out of being in the sort of bottom 2 in the field, we might be doing all right for the rest of this season. We've certainly got a better foothold in this season so far already. In fact, we've almost got as many points this season as we finished last season already. So, and it's only round 5 next time out as we head to the United States for the first of the 3 of those and the first sprint race, first of 6 for that front. But if you enjoyed this race, again, a very almost straightforward, competent drive from our drivers. Obviously, the tension arising from our strategy choice. Do you think we made the right call? Comment down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already as well. Until next time, thank you for watching. Ta-ra.